There are 13 fatal accidents in Hollywood history that remain the most shocking of all time. Stars who seemed untouchable lost their lives in sudden chaos and left mysteries that still linger today. Stay tuned, because each story will strike with the force of tragedy itself. Number 1. Marilyn Monroe. On the 5th of August 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found lifeless in her Los Angeles home, a phone still in her hand and bottles of barbiturates scattered nearby. The official cause was listed as probable suicide. Yet the strange details, locked bedroom doors, missing journals, and contradictory witness statements turned her passing into one of Hollywood's greatest unsolved mysteries. At just 36 years old, she stood at the height of her fame, and the abrupt end of her life stunned the world. The contrast between Monroe's radiant presence on screen and her tragic fate became an enduring reminder of the fragile line between glamour and despair. Born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926, she endured a childhood of foster care, instability, and longing for love. By the 1,950 seconds, she had reinvented herself as Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's most luminous blonde bombshell. Her films, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, The 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot, solidified her as not only a global sex symbol but also a talented comedic actress. She fought tirelessly against the stereotype of being just another pretty face, studying method acting under Lee Strasberg in hopes of being taken seriously by critics. Her personal life told a darker story. Behind the laughter and camera flashes, Monroe suffered through failed marriages to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller. She lived under the constant scrutiny of the press, which dissected every gesture and headline, often magnifying her struggles with depression and insomnia. Her rumored affairs with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy added layers of intrigue and danger to her life, blurring the line between reality and mythology. When news of her death spread, Hollywood and the world reeled. Fans flooded the streets in disbelief, unwilling to accept that their golden goddess was gone. Conspiracy theories ignited immediately political cover-ups, mafia ties, silent secrets, all fueling the aura of mystery that still clings to her name. Marilyn Monroe's death remains one of the darkest chapters in Hollywood history. She embodied both the brilliance and the brittleness of stardom, a woman adored by millions, yet undone by forces too powerful to resist. Her image endures eternal, her final night forever echoing as a cautionary tale of fame's hidden cost. Number 2. Natalie Wood. On the 29th of November 1981, Natalie Wood's body was discovered floating off Santa Catalina Island, clad in a red down jacket and nightgown. The night before, she had been aboard the yacht Splendor with her husband Robert Wagner, actor Christopher Walken, and the ship's captain. What began as a weekend getaway ended in mystery when she disappeared from the boat. The coroner initially ruled it an accidental drowning, but bruises on her body and conflicting testimonies left haunting questions. She was only 43 years old at the height of her career, and her sudden death became one of Hollywood's most unsettling tragedies. Natalie was born Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko in San Francisco in 1938 to Russian immigrant parents. She entered films as a child star, her breakthrough coming at just 8 years old in Miracle on 34th Street. By her teenage years, she had already become a household name, balancing innocence with a precocious maturity on screen. She successfully transitioned into adult roles, earning acclaim for Rebel Without a Cause opposite James Dean, a performance that won her an Academy Award nomination and cemented her place in the pantheon of young Hollywood stars. Throughout the 1,960 seconds, Wood became one of the most bankable actresses in America. Films such as West Side Story, Splendor in the Grass, and Gypsy showcased her versatility, beauty, and emotional depth. She earned multiple Academy Award nominations, and critics praised her ability to capture vulnerability beneath a glamorous exterior. Off-screen, however, her life was filled with turbulence. She married Robert Wagner twice, their union marked by passion but also persistent rumors of jealousy and conflict. The night of her death remains clouded in uncertainty. Witnesses recalled raised voices on the yacht, while the captain later claimed Wagner and Wood had argued before she disappeared. Theories swirled about whether she slipped trying to secure a dinghy or whether something more sinister occurred. In 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the case, and by 2018, Robert Wagner was officially named a person of interest, though no charges were filed. Natalie Wood's final chapter has never been fully explained. Her brilliance on screen is undeniable, yet her mysterious death continues to overshadow her legacy, a haunting reminder of how even Hollywood's brightest stars can vanish into darkness. Number 3. Paul Walker. On the 30th of November 2013, Paul Walker died in a fiery car crash in Santa Clarita, California. He was a passenger in a Porsche Carrera GT, driven by his friend Roger Rodas, when the car lost control, hit a concrete lamppost and several trees, and burst into flames. Both men were killed instantly, the wreck so violent that their remains were nearly unrecognizable. Walker was just 40 years old, in the middle of filming Fast and Furious 7, and the sudden accident sent shockwaves through fans across the globe. Paul William Walker IV was born in 1,973 inches, Glendale, California. He began acting as a child, appearing in commercials before moving into television roles on shows like Highway to Heaven and Touched by an Angel. By the late 1990s, he was making a mark in films such as Pleasantville and Varsity Blues. His breakthrough came in 2001 with The Fast and the Furious, where his portrayal of undercover cop Brian O'Connor made him an international star and a defining face of the franchise. Walker's charm came from his ability to blend boyish good looks with genuine warmth. Off-screen, he was known for humility and a passion for marine biology and humanitarian work. He founded Reach Out Worldwide, a nonprofit dedicated to disaster relief, reflecting his deep compassion for people in crisis. The aftermath of his death was immense. Universal Pictures delayed production of Fast and Furious 7 to rework the film and honor his memory. His brothers, Cody and Caleb, helped complete some of his scenes, while the film's ending served as a moving farewell to both the character and the actor. Fans created global memorials, leaving flowers, candles, and messages at the crash site. Paul Walker's death felt like more than the loss of a star. It was the silencing of a kind spirit whose life blended speed, fame, and generosity. His tragic accident remains one of Hollywood's darkest moments, and audiences still revisit his films with bittersweet admiration. What do you think made Paul Walker so beloved? His daring roles or his real-life kindness? Leave your thoughts below. Number 4. James Dean. On the 30th of September 1955, James Dean was killed in a head-on collision while driving his silver Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard, near Cholame, California. He was just 24 years old when a Ford Tudor sedan turned into his lane, and the impact crushed the small sports car. Dean suffered massive internal injuries and was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. The crash not only ended a promising career, but also created an enduring symbol of youth, cut short by speed and recklessness. Born in Marion, Indiana in 1931, James Byron Dean faced tragedy early in life when his mother died of cancer when he was 9 years old. He was raised by relatives before returning to live with his father in California. His passion for acting led him to New York, where he studied at the Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg. His intensity and brooding style captured the essence of method acting and drew comparisons to Marlon Brando. In just a few years, Dean transformed Hollywood. He starred in 3 films that all became classics: East of Eden, 1955, Rebel Without a Cause, 1955, and Giant, 1956. Each role showcased his raw talent and emotional depth, portraying conflicted young men who embodied the restlessness of post-war America. He was nominated posthumously for 2 Academy Awards, making him the first actor to receive such recognition after death. Dean's obsession with fast cars and racing was well known. He competed in amateur racing events and planned to pursue it seriously alongside acting. His Porsche Spider had been customized with the number 130 and his nickname painted on it, a haunting detail given its role in his demise. The violent wreck and his youthful image turned him into a cultural legend. The reaction to his death was immediate and overwhelming. Fans around the world mourned the loss of an actor who seemed to represent their own struggles and desires. His style, his intensity, and his tragic end ensured that James Dean would never fade into obscurity. His legacy lives in 3 unforgettable films and the eternal image of a rebel who died too young. Number 5. Grace Kelly. On the 14th of September 1982, Grace Kelly lost control of her Rover P6 while driving along a steep and winding road near her home in Monaco. The car plunged down a 120-foot embankment, overturning multiple times before coming to a stop. She suffered a brain hemorrhage and serious injuries, passing away the following day at the age of 52. Her daughter, Princess Stephanie, was in the car and survived with injuries, but the loss of Grace Kelly stunned the world and silenced one of Hollywood's most elegant icons. Grace Patricia Kelly was born in Philadelphia in 1929 to a wealthy and socially prominent family. She trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and pursued modeling before making her way into Hollywood films. Her refined beauty and poised demeanor quickly set her apart, leading to her first major success in High Noon, 1952. She followed this with acclaimed performances in Mogambo, 1953, and The Country Girl, 1954, the latter earning her the Academy Award for Best Actress. Her collaborations with Alfred Hitchcock, including Dial M for Murder, Rear Window, and To Catch a Thief, showcased her as the epitome of the cool, sophisticated Hitchcock blonde. Audiences admired her ability to combine grace with emotional depth, creating a magnetic screen presence that defined the early 1,950 seconds. At the peak of her career, she shocked Hollywood by retiring from acting to marry Prince Rainier III of Monaco in 1956. The wedding was a global event, watched by millions, and transformed her from an actress into Princess Grace of Monaco. She embraced her royal duties with dignity, supporting charities and cultural institutions, though fans never stopped longing for her return to the screen. Her sudden death decades later felt almost unreal, as if life itself had scripted a tragic final act for a woman who embodied fairy tale romance. The image of Grace Kelly remains timeless, preserved in her films and in the legend of a Hollywood star who became royalty yet could not escape fate on a narrow mountain road. Number 6. Bruce Lee. On the 20th of July 1973, Bruce Lee collapsed in Hong Kong after complaining of a severe headache. He had taken a painkiller called Equigesic, and within hours he was pronounced dead at the age of 32. The official cause was cerebral edema, a swelling of the brain, yet the suddenness of his passing fueled decades of speculation about allergies, foul play, or even curses. For the world, the death of Bruce Lee was not only a shocking medical mystery, but also the loss of a cultural icon who seemed unstoppable. Born in San Francisco in 1940 and raised in Hong Kong, Lee was introduced to acting as a child through his father, who was a Cantonese opera star. He appeared in several films before moving back to the United States as a teenager. In Seattle, he studied philosophy at the University of Washington, while also developing his martial arts practice. He opened martial arts schools, teaching his evolving style of Jeet Kune Do, a philosophy of combat focused on fluidity, practicality, and adaptability. His Hollywood career began when he was cast as Kato in the television series The Green Hornet in the 1,960 Seconds. Though the show was short-lived, Lee's charisma and lightning-fast martial arts moves captured attention. Frustrated by the lack of opportunities for Asian actors in Hollywood, he returned to Hong Kong, where he starred in a string of martial arts films that revolutionized the genre. The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, and Way of the Dragon turned him into a superstar, while Enter the Dragon, released, posthumously cemented his global fame. Bruce Lee's death came just as he was breaking barriers for representation in cinema. His vision of martial arts as both philosophy and art transcended film, influencing not only future action stars but also athletes, thinkers, and performers worldwide. Theories about his final hours persist, from reactions to medication to elaborate conspiracy tales, but none diminish his enduring influence. Bruce Lee remains more than an actor or a fighter. He is a symbol of discipline, creativity, and cultural pride. His life ended abruptly, yet his legend continues to inspire generations who see in him the embodiment of human potential. Number 7. Heath Ledger. On the 22nd of January, 2008, Heath Ledger was found dead in his Manhattan apartment, lying unconscious in bed, surrounded by prescription pill bottles. The medical examiner ruled his death an accidental overdose from a lethal mix of painkillers, sleeping pills, and anti-anxiety medication. He was only 28 years old, and his sudden passing stunned the film industry, arriving just months before the release of what would become his most celebrated role. Heathcliff Andrew Ledger was born in Perth, Australia in 1979. From a young age, he displayed a natural talent for performance, first in local theater and television, then in films that revealed his depth and charisma. He broke into Hollywood with 10 Things I Hate About You in 1999, where his charm and energy made him a teen heartthrob. Refusing to be typecast, Ledger pursued challenging roles that demonstrated his range, from the sweeping romance of A Knight's Tale to the gritty realism of Monsters Ball. His career reached new heights with Brokeback Mountain, 2005, where his portrayal of Innes Del Mar, a closeted cowboy, earned him an Academy Award nomination. The quiet intensity and emotional restraint of the performance confirmed his standing as one of the finest actors of his generation. Critics praised his willingness to take risks and his ability to lose himself in complex, layered characters. Ledger's final completed role as the Joker in The Dark Knight was transformative. He immersed himself completely, crafting a villain that was chilling, chaotic, and unforgettable. The film, released after his death, earned him posthumous acclaim and the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. His Joker became iconic, setting a new standard for comic book performances and demonstrating the depths of his artistry. The news of his passing spread instantly, leaving fans worldwide in mourning. Tributes poured in from fellow actors, directors, and audiences who recognized the enormity of the loss. His death sparked conversations about the pressures of fame, the dangers of prescription drugs, and the fragility of talent cut short. Heath Ledger's legacy remains in the brilliance of his performances, which continue to resonate with new generations. His brief but extraordinary career is a reminder of how quickly greatness can be taken away. Number 8. River Phoenix. On the 31st of October 1993, River Phoenix collapsed outside the Viper Room, a nightclub on Sunset Boulevard, partly owned by Johnny Depp. He had been inside with his siblings and friends when he suddenly became violently ill. Stumbling onto the sidewalk, he suffered seizures before losing consciousness. Despite frantic efforts to revive him, Phoenix was pronounced dead at the age of 23. The coroner confirmed the cause as acute multiple drug intoxication, a lethal combination of cocaine and heroin. His death shocked Hollywood, not only for its suddenness, but for the brutal contrast with his image as a gifted, sensitive young actor. River Jude Phoenix was born in 1,970 inches, Madras, Oregon, into a family of free-spirited travelers who raised their children on ideals of art and activism. From an early age, he demonstrated exceptional talent, learning guitar, writing music, and acting with a natural authenticity that drew attention. His first major breakthrough came with Stand By Me, 1986, where his portrayal of Chris Chambers showcased his rare ability to channel vulnerability and maturity beyond his years. Through the late 1,980 seconds and early 1,990 seconds, Phoenix became one of Hollywood's brightest young stars. His performances in Running on Empty, 1988, which earned him an Academy Award nomination, and My Own Private Idaho, 1991, confirmed his extraordinary depth. He gravitated toward unconventional roles, often exploring themes of alienation, love, and identity. Critics praised him as a prodigy who seemed destined to carry the mantle of serious American cinema into a new generation. Outside of acting, Phoenix was known for his dedication to animal rights, environmental causes, and veganism. He was viewed as a thoughtful, compassionate figure, embodying the idealism of youth at a time when Hollywood often rewarded conformity. His music career with the band Aleka's Attic further reflected his creative spirit and desire to express himself beyond film. The scene of his collapse, witnessed by fans and paparazzi, became one of the most harrowing images of celebrity culture. For many, his death symbolized the destructive power of drugs and the crushing weight of fame. River Phoenix remains immortalized in the raw honesty of his performances, remembered as a star whose promise was extinguished far too soon. Number 9. Carole Lombard. On the 16th of January 1942, Carole Lombard boarded TWA Flight 3 after finishing a war bond rally in Las Vegas. The plane never reached its destination. It crashed into Potosi Mountain in Nevada, killing all 22 people on board. Lombard, only 33 years old, was the highest-paid female star in Hollywood at the time, and her sudden death devastated both the film industry and the American public. President Franklin D. Roosevelt praised her as a patriot, honoring her service in raising millions for the war effort. Born Jane Alice Peters in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in 1908, Lombard entered films as a teenager after being discovered by a director. By the 1,930 seconds, she had become one of Hollywood's brightest comedic actresses, renowned for her sparkling wit and impeccable timing. She was a leading figure of the screwball comedy genre, elevating films like 20th Century, 1934, and My Man Godfrey, 1936, the latter earning her an Academy Award nomination. Her screen presence combined sophistication with warmth, making her one of the most beloved stars of her generation. Her personal life was as captivating as her career. Lombard's marriage to actor William Powell ended amicably, and in 1939 she wed Clark Gable, one of the most famous leading men of the era. Together they became Hollywood royalty, admired by fans as the embodiment of glamour and romance. Their relationship, filled with affection and playful banter, was widely regarded as one of the most genuine partnerships in the industry. The tragedy of Lombard's death was compounded by the grief of Gable, who was shattered by the loss. He enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces soon after, determined to contribute to the war effort as his wife had. Lombard was laid to rest in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, where her grave remains a place of pilgrimage for admirers. Carole Lombard's life and death embodied the dazzling highs and devastating lows of Hollywood. She was more than a screen legend. She was a woman of courage, charm, and patriotism. Her passing cut short a career that had already left an indelible mark on cinema, ensuring her memory would endure long after the crash that claimed her life. Number 10. John Denver. On the 12th of October 1997, John Denver died when the experimental aircraft he was piloting crashed into Monterey Bay near Pacific Grove, California. He was flying alone when the plane, a Rutan-Long EZ, ran out of fuel due to a poorly placed fuel selector valve. Denver attempted to switch tanks but lost control, and the aircraft plunged into the water. He was 53 years old, and his sudden death ended the life of one of America's most cherished singer-songwriters. Born Henry John Deutschendorf Jr. in 1,943 inches, Roswell, New Mexico, Denver grew up in a military family and moved frequently during his childhood. Music became his constant companion, and by the 1,960 seconds he was performing in folk clubs, writing songs that captured the spirit of nature, love, and wanderlust. His warm tenor voice and gentle demeanor soon distinguished him from other artists of his era. His breakthrough came in 1969 when Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded his song, "Leaving on a Jet Plane," which became a #1 hit. Denver's own career took off soon after, and by the 1,970 seconds he was a household name. Songs like "Take Me Home," "Country Roads," "Annie's Song," "Rocky Mountain High," and "Sunshine on My Shoulders" resonated deeply with audiences, celebrating both personal intimacy and the majesty of the natural world. His music earned him Grammy Awards, an Emmy, and enduring popularity. Denver was also an advocate for environmental causes, humanitarian efforts, and space exploration. He testified before Congress on environmental issues and co-founded the World Hunger Project. His passion for flying matched his love of music, though friends often expressed concern about his risk-taking in the air. The news of his death spread quickly, and fans mourned across the globe. Tributes poured in from fellow musicians, politicians, and admirers who viewed him as more than a performer. He was a voice of optimism and unity during turbulent times. His ashes were scattered in the Rocky Mountains, the landscape he so often sang about, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with the beauty of nature and the soul of American folk music. Number 11. Jayne Mansfield. On the 29th of June 1967, Jayne Mansfield was killed instantly when the Buick Electra she was traveling in crashed into the rear of a tractor-trailer on U.S. Route 90 near New Orleans. The impact sheared off the top of the car, killing Mansfield, her driver, and her companion instantly. 3 of her children, including future actress Mariska Hargitay, were asleep in the back seat and survived with minor injuries. She was only 34 years old, and the brutal details of the crash quickly made headlines around the world. Jayne Mansfield was born Vera Jane Palmer in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania in 1933. From a young age, she dreamed of stardom, studying acting and music while cultivating a striking image. She arrived in Hollywood during the 1,950 seconds, a time when the industry was searching for its next blonde bombshell. With her voluptuous figure and playful personality, Mansfield was marketed as a rival to Marilyn Monroe. Her breakthrough came with Will's success Spoiled Rock Hunter, 1957, a satirical comedy that showcased her ability to parody her own sex symbol image. She signed with 20th Century Fox and appeared in a string of films that highlighted her curves, charisma, and comedic timing. Though often typecast, she earned praise for her performances and developed a loyal fan base. Her appearances in The Girl Can't Help It, 1956, and Too Hot to Handle, 1960, cemented her place in pop culture. Beyond her film career, Mansfield became a staple of American tabloids. Her flamboyant lifestyle, daring publicity stunts, and highly publicized relationships kept her in the public eye. She embraced the spectacle of celebrity, often blurring the line between performance and real life. The aftermath of her death was as sensational as her life. The horrific nature of the crash spurred changes in road safety regulations, including the widespread adoption of underride guards on tractor trailers, often referred to as Mansfield bars. Her funeral drew crowds of grieving fans, and Hollywood mourned the loss of a star whose life embodied both glamour and excess. Jayne Mansfield's career may have been brief, but her impact on Hollywood's image of sex appeal and celebrity endures. Her tragic accident remains one of the most infamous in entertainment history, sealing her legacy as a symbol of both allure and tragedy. Number 12. Vic Morrow. On the 23rd of July 1982, Vic Morrow was killed during the filming of Twilight Zone, the movie when a helicopter crashed onto the set. A stunt sequence involving explosions caused the pilot to lose control, and the aircraft descended onto Morrow and two child actors, Micah Din Lei and Renee Shin-Yi Chen. All three were killed instantly. Morrow was 53 years old, and the horrific accident became one of the darkest moments in Hollywood filmmaking, sparking outrage and leading to years of lawsuits and safety reforms. Vic Morrow was born in 1,929 inches, the Bronx, New York. After leaving high school, he joined the U.S. Navy before turning to acting, studying at the Actors Studio in New York under Elia Kazan. His natural intensity and rugged presence led him to early roles in films such as Blackboard Jungle, 1955, where he played a troubled teenager, earning attention for his raw energy. By the 1,960 seconds, Morrow had established himself on television. He starred in the ABC war series Combat, 1962-1967, playing Sergeant Chip Saunders, a role that became his signature. His portrayal of a tough but compassionate soldier resonated with audiences, and the show remains one of the classic American war dramas. His career spanned guest appearances in numerous television shows and supporting roles in films, often cast as hard-edged or conflicted characters. Despite steady work, Morrow never achieved the same level of stardom as some of his contemporaries. Still, he was respected as a dedicated actor who brought conviction to every role. Off-screen, he was known as a private man, focused on his craft and his family. He was also the father of actress Jennifer Jason Leigh, who would later rise to acclaim in her own career. The accident on the set of Twilight Zone left Hollywood reeling. Investigations revealed lapses in safety protocols and illegal use of child actors in dangerous conditions. The tragedy forced the industry to reevaluate stunt practices, ushering in stricter regulations designed to prevent similar disasters. Vic Morrow's death stands as one of Hollywood's most sobering reminders of the risks behind cinematic spectacle. Though his career was cut short in the most shocking way, his work endures through film, television, and the legacy of a life devoted to performance. Number 13. Steve Irwin. On the 4th of September 2006, Steve Irwin was fatally injured while filming an underwater documentary at Bat Reef off the coast of Queensland, Australia. He was snorkeling in shallow water when he approached a stingray, which lashed its tail upward, piercing his chest with its barb. The wound struck his heart, and though crew members rushed to get him onto their boat and attempted resuscitation, he was pronounced dead before reaching shore. He was 44 years old, and the sudden, unusual accident stunned millions who knew him as the exuberant crocodile hunter. Stephen Robert Irwin was born in 1,962 inches, Essendon, Victoria. His parents, Bob and Lynn Irwin, were wildlife experts who ran the Queensland Reptile and Fauna Park, where Steve grew up surrounded by animals. Handling crocodiles from a young age, he developed the skills and daring personality that would later captivate global audiences. In 1996, Irwin and his wife Terry launched the Crocodile Hunter, a wildlife documentary series that became a worldwide phenomenon. With his trademark khaki shorts, boundless enthusiasm, and catchphrase, "Crikey," Irwin brought viewers face to face with crocodiles, snakes, and other dangerous creatures. His energy, humor, and genuine passion for conservation made him an international star, admired not just for entertainment but for raising awareness about wildlife protection. Irwin expanded his impact beyond television. He founded the Australia Zoo, which became a major tourist destination and a hub for conservation. He actively campaigned for endangered species, fought against poaching, and encouraged people to respect animals in their natural habitats. His larger-than-life personality masked a deep seriousness about preserving the planet's biodiversity for future generations. The reaction to his death was immediate and global. Fans, politicians, and conservationists mourned the loss of a man whose life was dedicated to the natural world. Thousands visited Australia Zoo to leave flowers and messages, while tributes poured in from around the world. His funeral was broadcast nationally, reflecting the profound influence he had on people of all ages. Steve Irwin's legacy continues through the work of his family, who carry on his mission of conservation. His tragic accident remains one of the most shocking in entertainment history, a reminder of both the dangers and the nobility of a life spent so close to nature. These 13 stories reveal how quickly Hollywood's brilliance can be eclipsed by tragedy. From rising stars to established legends, each life ended in a way no script could predict, leaving behind grief, mystery, and a legacy that refuses to fade. Their names remind us that behind the glamour lies fragility, and that even icons are not immune to fate. Which of these stories struck you the most? And are there others you believe should be remembered here? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to Tragic Hollywood, where memory keeps the stars alive.